Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today, we're going to take a look at this knife and give it my general review, overview, whatever you want to call it. This is the Quiet Carry Drift in titanium stonewashed with milled traction on the show side. You can get this in a lot of different variations. Milled, not milled, different colors. They had black, I think, and gray. Yeah, and you can get it in a G10 variety, and yeah, just like that. So let's do some size. Let's look at how big it is. This knife is about a 3-inch blade with about a 2.5-inch cutting edge and about a 2 7/8 handle. Handle thickness is right about just under 3/8 of an inch. Overall height in your pocket is about 1.25 inches. And it weighs 2.6 ounces because it is heavily milled out on the inside. I don't know if I can get this to show. You can see in there, you can kind of see it in there just a little bit. Heavily milled on the inside, so yeah, very lightweight. The steel is Vanex, which is marked on this side, sorry, which is supposed to be a completely rust-proof. The thing about this knife is it's supposed to be completely rust-proof. Size comparisons, gotta have size comparisons, or else we don't fit in with the club. Here it is against the Para 3. We'll put the Para 3 down here. Here it is against the Cold Steel 4MAX. So you can see it's a little bit smaller than the 4MAX and actually a little bit smaller also than the Para 3. Here it is next to a Leatherman Charge TI. So actually really, except for the fact that this is way fatter, they're really close to the same size, although you do get a little more cutting edge on the TI. And today I chose, here it is next to a standard ice cream scooper. All right, let's jump into this knife because I have a lot to talk about with this knife. There is a lot of good with this knife in the design and the build, but the execution on this particular one, I don't know. There's also some issues. Let's just get these all the way out of the way and have a sip of coffee. Cheers. Oh yeah. So first of all, let's talk about the blade. Let's talk about all the good stuff. Here's all the good stuff with this knife. Like I said, 2.6 ounces. They actually pack quite a bit of cutting edge into a small package. Notice the tip of that blade goes as far as you want it to inside the handle, so the blade to handle ratio is really good. The milling on this titanium gives you pretty dang good traction, so that's nice. All the edges and everything are nicely chamfered. They're well done. There's nothing sharp. The ergonomics on this knife are really good. Even up here in the forward, reaching up in the forward choil. They call this a drop point blade. It's got nice chamfering on the edges of the blade. The jimping is pretty nice. The thumb studs are nice. They don't hurt your thumb or anything. They're not like the little volcano issues like you have with the Chris Reeves Benza knives. The lanyard is perfectly executed as it's hidden back here. You run it in through there and out through that hole on the non-show side, which is pretty nice. Lockup on this knife is really good. Interior milling is really good. I really like that this is milled for the lock bar relief on the inside instead of the outside. They say that this isn't as strong, but you're not going to beat this knife hard enough to break that anyway. And if you do, you're not using it for the right use. The pocket clip is very good. It's got really good tension. It is also made out of LC200N. The screws are LC200N. the lock bar interface is LC200N, the thumb stud is LC200N, the pivot's LC200N. So this knife is supposed to be completely rust proof. The blade is ground very thin, just over 1/16 of an inch. Let's see, I do not have calipers, but I do have a tape measure right here. And let's put it up to like that. And yes, as you can see, it is about 3/32, just under an 1/8 inch, just over a 1/16. So that's really nice. It's got a almost full flat ground. They left just enough flat up here so you can lock onto it with your KME, and they ground it fairly thin. Although if you look at it, it is not super duper thin right behind the edge. And we have a visitor already. He likes to be in the videos. You're gonna have to wait, Arthur. Yeah, it's for as thin as the stock is, in my opinion, they could have got a little bit thinner behind that edge. It just doesn't, I mean, it doesn't taper as much as you'd think it does. But it's still good. It's still good. It's an excellent slicing blade. Obviously, with that thin stock, you're going to be able to slice through stuff pretty easy. It does mean that you don't have as robust of a tip as you would on another knife. Say, like, even this Spyderco right here. Has just a little bit more robust of a tip. And this is actually ground almost exactly as thin with thicker stock. So, and the edge. So, but in overall slicing capability, this will be pretty good with that thin stock. So that's nice. That's a really good thing. The forward finger choil is really good. All the grips are really good. There is just this, for me anyway, a little bit of a bump right there. That's because I have big hands, so it does kind of dig into my pinky a little bit if I really squish on it. But up here in the finger choil grip, not quite so much. So that's all good. The design of the knife, their 4 little dot logo thing that kind of identifies them as squat carry is pretty cool. I like that. I like how they do it here and here. That's pretty neat. I like that the screws are all sleeved. There's no screws getting screwed into the titanium. That's really good. I like how they give you very good thumb stud access. That's really good. The action on this knife is okay. It's fair. Like if I get it as loose as I want it to be, and this is where I guess we're gonna switch on over to some of the stuff that I don't like, my centering is off. And as you can see, my centering is off right now. This particular knife, and this may not be on every quiet carry drift, this one has been a pain. I can get it centered and get it working right, but man, it's such a pain. It's so touchy. So I don't particularly care for that. I would have really liked to see them. I mean, I like phosphor bronze drop washers just as much as the next guy, but in my experience now, I've been around since they very first started using IKBS, was one of the first bearing systems to come out. And I have yet to hear of a knife failing because it had bearings. And that was always the big thing when bearings first came out, and oh, they're going to fail. They're not, nope, that's not it. This isn't the way of the future. And yeah, that was what, 2008 or something like that. And yeah, I would say bearings are fine. They've been around a long time now, and they seem to work just fine. So I kind of wish that this knife had bearings. It would probably center better, the action would probably be a little bit better, and you would still get good solid lockup. And you do get very good, very solid lockup on this knife anyway with the washers. So, and now let's just jump into some of the things that are irritating with this knife. First of all, look at the blade. Let's see if I can get it in the light and show you. See all those fine scratches going this way? That's just from cutting foam. And I don't have that with other steels. I've been told about how tough Van X is supposed to be, how it's so much better than like H1, super rust resistant and supposed to hold the edge. I heard people say it's very comparable to S30V. I would say it's probably more comparable to 154. an S30V. I don't know, but I don't get super great edge holding on it, and it just seems soft to me. So it seems like it rolls the edge pretty easily, as you can see right there. There's an edge roll right there, and then if I hold it just right, yeah, that's probably the only one you could really make out. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah, see all the little edge rolled spots on there. And I know I apexed the edge. I had a burr the whole way, and still problems. It just doesn't seem to hold the edge, and there you can really see the scratches. It just seems like it scratches really easy, and that's from cutting through stuff like that, through foam. And I know the foam that I cut through. The grinder satin finish on this knife is actually fairly good. It's a little weird, but it's not bad for grinder satin. There you can really see the scratches on there. I may end up just doing a hand rub satin on this blade one of these days. I don't know. I mean, I can do it. I've done it on knives before. It wouldn't be a big deal, but I don't know. The next thing, besides the centering and besides the soft steel, it seems soft to me, these screws are too shallow. See how they do that bevel down into the screw? You end up with a very shallow screw, and you go to put your Torx driver in it and it wants to pop out really easy. And that drove me crazy, because you got to get these things so tight to make everything center upright to start with that it's just a pain. I don't like it. I do like that they do all the same size. They're all number 8s. That's great. Do a deeper screw. Do a normal depth screw. A normal depth screw would be great. It's almost like they took button head screws and ground them flat. I don't know. It's weird. So I would like to see that. It would be a great improvement on this knife. Taking it apart and getting it centered was a real pain. Taking it apart was kind of a pain because of those shallow screws. And the steel performance, like I said, it just, I don't know. I'm so torn about this knife because it's $350. You can get a G10 version for $250. And all the hype and all the talk. One reviewer, Nick Shabazz, pretty popular guy, said that he wished he would have got this knife later in the year, and it probably would have been his knife of the year. I don't know. I definitely can't say that this would be a knife of the year for me. And like I said, it's a lot of frustration and disappointment. I'm disappointed in how well it holds an edge. I'm frustrated that it won't center right. I'm frustrated that the screws seem to be way too shallow, because they do so much. Like, this knife is this close to being what could be considered a perfect EDC. If it centered easy and the steel was not quite so soft, this would be great. This would be great. I'd love it. But it's not. Other improvements that I would think that would be cool: run the jimping further up. So if you have jimping up here, because a lot of people are going to hold this knife like this or like this, and it'd be nice if they'd put, more knife companies would put jimping. Look at the scratches. Would put jimping up here. That would be really nice. Yeah. You could do away with that lanyard thing altogether, in my opinion, but I get it. I understand it. Otherwise, the pocket's great. It's nice and thin, so it's thin in the pocket. When you put it in, this kind of tucks away in the back corner of your pocket. I like the fact that they didn't have a clip on the other side. So, sorry, lefties, but I rejoice in the fact that it does not have a clip on that side. So that's good. So, yeah, anyway, that is kind of boils down to my review of this knife. Can I recommend it? Well, I think that if you're not a super heavy knife user like me, and you may get a better one than me that centers a lot easier, then yeah, I can recommend it. I mean, it is a good knife. I'm not going to say it's not a good knife, but just for me, some of the frustrations of it kind of, I don't know, like I said, $350 for a titanium high-end steel frame lock. I can get M390 titanium frame locks for $250. And M390 is not far off from being rust resistant. I mean, it's very, it's not rust proof like this steel, but it's very rust resistant, and it holds a great edge and is, you know, pretty good to sharpen. This knife is not bad to sharpen. It doesn't seem to like to strop as well to me. Like, it'll strop up and get shiny, but not sharp. It's kind of weird. But yeah, there it is, the Quiet Carry Drift. I hope you enjoyed this review and listen to me ramble and bamble like I don't know what I'm doing, because I don't, so that's good. So please give me a like and a subscribe. And if you happen to be on Instagram, I'm also on there at Toadsticker. Just type in Toadsticker and I'll pop up. And yeah, there you go. I hope you have a wonderful day. Toadsticker out.